Hey everybody, it's Walter Parker, the Minister Mortgage here with the elite realtor, Linda Barr. We're here today to talk about one of the most important but most overlooked steps of the home buying process. Excited to be here talking about one of the most important steps, how to get your license to shop, which is also known as the pre-approval.
We are here at Rocky Stadium in downtown Denver. There's actually a game going on, so we're pretty pumped for that.
Woohoo!
But
the Rockies.
We are going to talk about the number one thing, actually the very first thing that I want to talk about and ask Walter to give to you guys is, why is it so important for people to get pre-approved when searching for a home?
So glad you asked that question. So I actually had a couple that had went under contract, and I get the call from the realtor and they say, hey, I won't say the name of the company that pre-approved them, but it starts with a big Q, okay? And so turned out the realtor said, hey, they want to get a second opinion. Now, mind you, they're under contract. They just put up earnest money. And we run the numbers. We go into detail about their credit, and I start talking about closing costs. Guess what? They were not talked to about closing costs at all. They were about $10,000 short for the transaction. So they had to back out, which meant all the time spent looking at the house, all the time going under contract, and it was a bad feeling for everyone involved. Unfortunately, if I'd been at the very beginning of that process, I could have talked to them and went through all the things. So this is why a pre-approval is so important. You can go online and anyone, and I do mean anyone, can give you a pre-qual just based on certain numbers that you type in. Doesn't mean it's going to stick. So one of the biggest reasons why you want a pre-approval is because you really want to know exactly what you're dealing with before you go under contract.
So it's like kind of like knowing the numbers, knowing everything. So for my side of the job, when I have a client I'm working with, they call, they say, hey Linda, I'm gonna go look at this house. I'm like, all right, let's go, right?
Woohoo, yes.
We jump in the car because they called me, let's go. If I were to just do that and we went and looked at this house and they're like, oh my gosh, we love it, this is what we want. We're like, okay, cool, let's get into an offer. And I'm like, all right, are you guys pre-qualified? And they're like, what's that? Okay, this is where I come in. Prior to that, I always, the number one thing I tell my clients is, have you spoken to a lender? That's the number one thing I ask them, because I do not show, I won't take them out, because that is just setting us up for failure, I feel like. Because if I go, let's say they want that house and they want me to put in an offer, and then it comes back that they aren't even approved for that, for whatever the reason may be, now they're already devastated, and we haven't even started. So it makes it really, really hard if, we're not staying on top of our jobs and putting our clients in the right direction so that we are all set up for success.
It is your license to shop, right? So you wouldn't drive without a license. You don't go looking for houses without a shopping license, which is your pre-approval, right?
Yes, I love that. Yes.
It is really important, and especially, tell me, in this market, are houses, when you see a house you like, do you have days or weeks to think about it?
No, absolutely not. I actually am on the phone with my client, even though I've sent the email, I'm on the phone or I'm texting if they're in work or whatever the case may be, and I'm like, hey, I'm pretty sure you're gonna like this property, or I just sent you some. Let me know ASAP if I need to schedule showings, because even the showings book up.
Yeah.
So, and I actually just had that happen 2 days ago. I had a property, we went out, literally as soon as they told me, I went, and the showings were booked out,
Yep.
and we couldn't even get in to see the property.
Yeah.
So you
That's great.
have to be on top of it. And another really, really important factor is, half the time, because people are just sending offers and forgetting that, they won't even accept the offer unless you send it with a pre-approval letter.
Wow, yeah. I like the first 3 letters of pre-approval is PRE, and the first 3 letters of prepared is PRE, right?
Oh, I like
that. So there's a correlation there. Preparation saves a lot of time, a lot of money,
Yes.
and a lot of hassle. And I'm telling you, if you want to prepare, you call Linda, and then Linda's going to get you in touch with me.
Yes.
And even if you have a pre-approval already with another lender, I will tell you one thing we're seeing in Colorado is a lot of sellers want to deal with local. Right?
Yes.
Local is a
Yes.
huge thing. So when you have a national brand that's pre-qualified you, that's great. But what national brands or national banks usually end up being is you're never talking to the same person more than once. Getting answers is only during business hours. And so on the weekends, when all this stuff is happening, like you said, we have minutes, maybe hours, not days, to make an offer work. So having a local lender makes a huge difference versus having the national check.
Right, and I can vouch for that on my end as well, because I'm the one who's with my clients. I take care of my clients. I'm the one who's on top of that. I mean, you and I will be talking constantly throughout the deal, because we want to make sure that everyone's on board, everyone's on the same page, because there's so many working parts within real estate period that you want to, like, I'm here to make sure everyone's in check. You're here to make sure everyone else is in check. Like, we all have our checks and balances, and getting set up right at the beginning, out the gate, I think is the most important thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that make the engine work in the whole home buying process, and I'm looking forward to talking more about that. But do yourself a favor. Contact Linda, and then make sure you have a solid pre-approval, pre-qual. It is really the first step in the 1,000-step journey that is buying the home process, right?
Right, yes. Right. Yeah, you wouldn't go up Mount Everest with nothing.
Right, exactly. You want to make sure the backpack's full, and that's what the pre-qual does for you, right?
Another question I get asked or get told all the time is, oh, well, my credit's not good enough, or I don't make enough money. And these are all things where I'm like, well, have you even talked to a lender? And it's like, no, my best friends, brothers, dads, uncles, sisters, cousins, coworkers said that I can't because I have to have a 680 or I have to have this much money, all these things. And they don't realize that there are many different ways to get pre-qualified. So this is one thing that I would love for you to talk about, because that is something, like I said, that I get asked or get told all the time.
It is. And I like to say I'm a yes man, I'm not a no man. All right, so we're trying to find every way to tell you yes, you can afford to buy a home. Now, you have different stages and levels, and what I know Linda talks with people, if you're a first-time home buyer and you're nervous about going from renting to owning, can you afford it? We have programs that go down to 600 as far as credit score wise, and there's also down payment assistance programs. We were talking about this earlier today, where they'll take care of the entire down payment. You only need to worry about closing costs, and in Colorado, that's only about 2% of the purchase price. Well, if you think about it, you're renting an apartment, especially down here. We're looking at McGregor Square over here. Would you think about renting, even in places in downtown? I mean, you're easily $2,500, $3,000, $3,500 for an apartment down here. How much house could that buy you? Yes, it could potentially get you about a $450,000, $500,000 home. And so don't let limitations of you telling yourself no. You got to get out your own way, get over yourself, and speak to a lender, right? And let us, hey,
call Walter.
We see credit scores of all shapes and sizes. I pulled one down in the 400s, and then we see 800s. So what I concentrate on is how to get you from point A to point B. So if you don't have a plan, you'll never get there. You're not just going to wander into a home, right? With that process. So we deal with a lot of things. We do some credit counseling ourselves, but we also have credit repair companies that we do work with that are reputable, because a lot of them are not. So it's definitely, you need a starting point. You don't have that until you at least apply and find out where you're at to know where you're going to go.
And that was going to be my next question, actually. So I'm glad you touched on the credit repair, because again, I've had clients who are, my credit's just not there. And it's like, okay, well, if you're not, have you figured out what the problem is? Do you know what's going on with it? Well, no, I just know it's bad. Okay, well, this is where, again, Walter comes in, because he can even direct you in the right direction.
Yeah, surprise, credit doesn't just automatically go bad, right?
Right.
There's something that's sticking out there. And the great thing about it is that if you do have medical collections and medical bills, those are omitted from the home buying process. We understand in the mortgage industry, we have many options as far as companies that even I know personally, working with a lot of these credit bureaus, they tell me, hey, Fingerhut will give you a real quick and easy one. If you have bad credit, you're trying to reestablish it, go to fingerhut.com. It's a catalog. After you buy and pay off your first item from them, they'll give you a $500 revolving line of credit that reports to all three bureaus. So you're guaranteed that right off the bat. You don't have to do secured card. Everybody talks about secured credit cards, right? You don't have to go that route, and they don't necessarily all report. Now, there's many different things out there, so you can go dig deeper and Google, but again, know where your credit report is at. Normally people will pay about 60 to 80 bucks for, if it's a couple, usually 50 bucks for an individual full credit report with credit score. Contact your local lender. I mean, you contact me.
Contact Walter?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be more than happy to pull your credit. Won't charge you anything for it, and yes, I'll give you a copy of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. So it sounds like you're just setting up, again, it's all being set up for success.
Preparation.
So thank you so much for joining us. We hope that busted out some of those myths and got you guys set up to give Walter a call, give myself a call if you guys are looking around the Denver area. Or do you do, actually that's another question, do you do loans outside of Colorado?
We do loans outside of Colorado, so I am a Florida native. That's why when we give our number, you'll see a Florida area code. But right now, currently, we're licensed in Colorado, Texas, and Florida.
Nice.
So
Okay.
we are expanding all the time. We're hiring all the time as well. So if loan officers are watching this, keep that in mind as well.
Okay.
Divisional manager with Contour Mortgage.
Perfect. So we can have that in the description box below,
Yep.
of course.
Yeah.
And then if you're interested in EXP, I will have all that information. So both of those will be in the description box. We hope you enjoyed Rocky Stadium and Q&A with me and Walter. Again, all of our information is linked below. And if we don't see you guys around Denver, we'll definitely see you on social media.
You got it.
All
Take
right.
care.
Bye.